All right, welcome disc golf fans to coverage of round one of the 2022 Birdie Open. I'm Andrew Fish, joined here by Nick Hanson.
Hey, how you doing?
So this is an A tier occurring in June 2022 at the classic East Coast Woods Monster Iron Hill in Newark, Delaware. This is going to be a very challenging, almost entirely wooded track, and in order to play well here, you're going to need to throw a lot of very long, straight, consistent wood shots. We've got a really solid card here, featuring Nick Hanson, Mike Carman, Dylan Horst, and Matt Bell.
Yeah, it should be an exciting day out there. Plenty of players here to watch for the overall for the tournament. But like you were saying, long, straight, and hitting your placements is going to be very important to come out on top this weekend.
Definitely.
Getting into the bag checks, we have myself first, putting the DT Glow Omega 4s. You're going to see me throw the Omega and the Omega 4 and the Quantum. Also the Mortar and the Draco and the Scorpius are going to be discs you'll see here today.
Mike Carman, sponsored by Discmania. He is a P2 putter, and you see how loaded up his bag is on mid-ranges for this round. I know that he's been throwing that tactic for both forehands and backhands quite a bit, but he's also very competent with his drivers.
Next up, we have Dylan Horst, sponsored by Birdie. The Marvel is going to be the main putting putter he uses, but with an open bag, you're going to see something from every manufacturer. We have the Berg, we have A2s, we have TL3s, FD3s, Ballista Pros.
And Matt Bell. Got a relatively small bag to show you here. Matt's sponsored by EV7 for his putting, and from Thought Space Athletics for the rest of his bag. I know that he's been throwing all of these discs very well, and more or less a mixed bag.
And we're on to hole one here, 625-foot par 4. That's going to shape to the right. Where those gentlemen are is going to be the landing zone that then you're going to want to throw down this tunnel into the green. Very hard par 4 to start the day.
Nick Hanson.
All right, Nick, you're going to lead it off. What do you feel as you're beginning a tournament here?
Beginning a tournament, I usually feel a lot of emotions. I try to just, push those away and kind of be emotionless and try to get through it one shot at a time, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
For me, on this hole specifically, I'm throwing a turnover, just kind of try and throw a nice flat shot down the gap. Not try and get too far, but have a look to get to the basket on my second.
Yeah, looks like you started in the right place. It's not quite drifting enough, but you got plenty of distance.
From lovely Uttsville, Pennsylvania, Mike Carman.
Next up, we've got Mikey. He's from maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours away. Plenty of experience on this course. C tier and B tier win already at this time of year. And it looks like he's going to go with a mid-range turnover to start. Kind of low and turning. Because he throws a mid-range, it's not going to go far off the fairway, but I think that's going to make the birdie play about as difficult as yours is, huh?
Yeah, I would agree with that. Both in the rough there.
All right, Dylan Horst. Dylan's been making some noise the last couple years on the Disc Golf Pro Tour as well as at majors. Very well-rounded game, but especially the power forehand. It is a tremendous weapon that he utilizes. And despite the little look away of disappointment as he pushed it too straight, he kicks down to the middle of the fairway. And Matt Bell, 2019 NT winner of the Delaware Disc Golf Challenge. Plenty of experience on this course, and you know he's going to be attacking here. Plenty of height, plenty of speed, but going to follow you to the left side.
Yeah, so as you see those three shots that kind of faded out early, and they're all going to be in that same similar rough there, that's a similar landing, I would say, for a lot of players.
And Dylan again going with the forehand, but leaves it inside, hits kind of one of the field goal trees. Pretty playable up and down from maybe 125 from there. Mike with, I guess that was a big forehand roller to get out. Maybe a thumber.
It's a great shot, though. Maybe circle 2?
Potentially.
I think this is me up.
And another very good scramble.
Yeah, I threw a turnover sidearm out of there, if I remember right.
I got to admire the ability to just find that shot in the air from the catch cam. Dylan, a very good controlled forehand up to the base. That leaves 10 to 15 feet. Mike with a floaty bid.
Oh, what a good run to start the day, though.
Yeah, for sure. This is very close to what the original pin position had been, but as some trees fell down, it unearthed a large root ball, and they did a little bit of earthwork to build it up and make this a true elevated basket. Just a nice way to make the course start off. Just outside the circle there for you?
Yeah, I think I was closer to the backside of circle 2, if I remember right. But a little bit downhill, and I was thankful to stay up top there with that run.
So thus far going to be looking like a star par frame to start. All things considered, that's not too bad, given that 3 of you were relatively deep in the rough.
Yeah, some good scrambles there to start the day, as we're going to see plenty of scrambles throughout this weekend. And we're on to hole number 2, 380-foot par 3. It's a very tight line that for the right-hand backhand player, you need to be fading to the left at the ends. And it's kind of like a flip-up shot that continues to push straight and then fades at the end.
Yeah, you got a couple gaps to choose from. Looks like you're going with the inside flip up. I like the way this is flying. Holy cow, Nick. Going long.
Wow. Just snuck through everything there. That's one of the shots you almost wish you were like, all right, I'm going to throw this and it'll probably hit something and we'll go from there. And then when it doesn't, you're like, oh, a little too hot.
Right, for sure. There's a big cluster around circle 2 that seems to catch many shots. Mike's pushed his a little wider and hit, basically he didn't choose a side of the gap. But taps down to the fairway. He'll have a 200-foot scramble. Dylan shows us a backhand in addition to his forehand. Also with some heat.
It's a great shot as well. Probably about circle's edge.
And Matt also playing the outside route. And wow, I like that a lot.
What a shot. And here we are with a replay. Well deserved.
Pushes the disc straight, gets a flip up. I like how committed he was to that hyzer. He was not going to let that disc leak inside.
And then I think he just jumped right in front of that clump of trees you were talking about to get him inside the circle there.
Mikey with a straight backhand putter. That should leave him easy work for the par cleanup. Do you have a reasonable line there?
Yeah, it was not a bad hyzer line. I mean, once you're more than 30 feet away from the basket, if you have any line, you're happy here, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. It can get cluttered in a hurry. The front side of the green is open, but I think the maintenance crew here has been very deliberate in what they leave around greens in order to make the approaches and putts directionally specific. Matt, essentially a bullseye. Very nice to get his birdie on hole 2.
we're on to hole 3. 760-foot par 4. Your first initial shot is going to land somewhere in this region. If you can get over this hill, you're in a great spot, but then you're going to be shooting down this tunnel. It's going to fall away to the left the entire way down here. But just another tight shot to get to the basket. 3s are going to be very good score on this hole, and I would be happy with you in par, I'd say.
For sure, for sure. Step 1, getting through this gap and moving left a little bit. Dylan has done part 1. Part 2 is not achieved. That's kind of a death cluster. It's making par your best case scenario. Matt with the backhand drifts a little bit right and now heading to the left. That's well controlled. It's short enough that he'll have a fine angle to the basket. Speed control with a mid-range is going to be the order for the second shot. What are you going with here, Nick?
I'm throwing a PUD here, just trying to get out to the left somewhere. And didn't make it through that first gap.
Mike, looks like that was a hyzer flip that only hyzered. But also out to the open, a long birdie play might be available.
Yeah, I feel like he's not in a bad spot over there. I'd rather be left and long than, inside and on the right side in those woods.
For sure. I like the control on this forehand. Did a really good job getting plenty of distance, putting yourself in a manageable par save range for your third and then fourth shots. Mike again trying with a hyzer flip to probably match the slope and the shape, but pulls it a little bit right. And Dylan with a forehand that's going to put him on that left side down in the ditch. Matt with a relatively straight shot. Funnels to pin high. That's
nice.
Yeah, looks like a long circle 1, maybe circle 2 look.
I think he'll probably be right about the circle's edge down there.
So you went forehand, and I'm guessing that is a deliberate play to try to stay away from the drop-off left side of the basket.
Yep, looking to skip about circle's edge and just hopefully get to pin high on the top right side.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like you see here, I don't want to be down there putting up at the basket. I'd rather have a shorter putt just there. I mean, if it's going to be a long one, I'd rather have that one, but trying to keep them close on greens like this.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously everyone wants to be parked for your par putt. Is there a distance that you'll accept to make the putt easier, like level with the basket?
As long as I'm inside the circle, I really consider that like a good shot.
Mm-hmm.
Within 30 feet, I mean, I should be able to make those putts. And if it's inside the circle, I should be happy with where it landed. Is my play.
Yeah, for sure. We saw Dylan maybe with kind of a tentative look on his fourth. Matt, being himself, going to jam it in for 3.
Yeah, he's rolling early. This is good to see out of him. And we'll see if he just keeps it going through his front 9.
Mm-hmm. Had you played with many of these folks before? Like they're all East Coast based, and you're a Colorado guy for the most part.
I've played with Matt Bell. Other than that, this day was the first day I met both the other gentlemen.
Sure. Is there anything in particular you do to feel out new players or folks you haven't played with yet?
Not really. I mean, for the first few holes in a tournament, I'm usually pretty quiet.
Mm-hmm.
Then
just gathering that focus.
Depending on my play, I'll either open up or I'll stay kind of quiet if I'm struggling and trying to find my focus, just like you said. But really, I kind of just say hi to people and then kind of just feel it out throughout the round.
Mm-hmm.
Would be how I do it. And we're on to hole 4. 675-foot par 4. A big turnover shot or a roller is going to be the ideal route to try and get down this gap, and then just try to funnel as far as possible. these trees really, they make your upshot very hard. So getting as close to them as possible is going to be a key factor. I would say this hole as a whole, we could see some eagles on this weekend.
Yeah, it's possible. If you get the right wind, it does play a touch downhill. You see Matt going with the big turnover play. Probably not going to hold, though.
No, it just kept pushing. It caught one of those guardian trees, so he's probably going to leave himself 280 to the basket, maybe.
Yeah. You're also going with that big backhand turnover. I like the way you've gotten this over on a committed way to hold. You're going to be down near where the silver pin traditionally is. And what is that? 180 to the basket?
Yeah.
That's a big drive.
Yeah, that's like the ideal landing spot for me, is trying to get back to that right side.
Mm-hmm. Mike, again going with the slight hyzer release, but a flippy disc. That's going to fade out a little bit. And I know from experience that kind of cuts off the angles to access the true fairway to the basket. So we'll have to throw something steep and skippy, I guess. Dylan with the forehand again. And playable. Not great, but playable on the right side.
I feel a lot of times with this course, you're making your own fairways once you get off the tee box.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing about golf games and disc golf in particular, because you can only script 18 of your shots every round. And on par threes, a lot of your outcomes are kind of predetermined, but on these multi-shot holes, yeah, you're choosing your own adventure.
Yeah. And we see Mike here going with a forehand roller for a second.
Oh, baby. That's creative. It is working.
Wow, that was an incredible shot. Now at circle edge for a birdie putt.
Dylan with what looks like a berg. He's again throwing kind of an open bag. Turnover shot, trying to hit the true gap. Breaks it a little bit right side. He'll have an opportunity for the putt. And we'll finally get up to your drive. What'd you have?
I'm probably about 120 to 140 out, I would say, maybe. But as you can see, once you get off or get up here, it's so tight. And just a little wide there, missed that hyzer gap. And now we're stuck with this. Not any better.
At least your stance isn't as, egregious. Nice spinny approach.
We're just chipping away, grabbing our pars here and there. Hopefully we'll get some birdies soon.
Yeah, Iron Hill is a course that makes you be patient about that. Birdies are good. You also have to recognize that pars are good too. Kind of a weird release from Dylan. I wonder if he's experiencing some grip issues.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I remember it being very humid and warm, so the hands were a little wet and sticky at times.
Yeah, June in the Mid-Atlantic will do that to you. Oh.
That's a tough one. He really wanted that one, I'm sure, after that upshot.
For sure. It would have been kind of some found gold to scramble for a birdie. But no harm, no foul. Again, racking up those pars. Same for Dylan. As well as for you. You see Matt nearly go through his full routine.
We'll be back after a short break. And hole 5. 780-foot par 5. It's our first par 5 on the course. It's significantly uphill to start, but basically 2 full drives to get up here to then chip up, and I would say grab your birdie at best. Potentially some eagles, but pretty unlikely on this one, I would feel like.
Yeah, it would take 2 huge pumps since they've moved this tee pad back across the road. First shot is going to be all about placement. Matt throws a beautiful little hyzer flip shape and gets a kiss off of the trees. That is position A.
He's in a very good position. If you can get, for me, if I can get just past that tee box he's next to, that's going to allow me to throw another big rip.
Mm-hmm. A lot of choices here. I've seen players go everything from mid-ranges up to full-speed distance driver. What are you electing here?
So I'm throwing a Falcon, flippy fast disc that hopefully I can get the distance, but I also can just have it ride on a straight line and have it kind of flip up the entire flight instead of it turning or fading really at all.
Mike again with the hyzer flip. I like the discipline on this. He's pushing it straight, keeping it low. Not a whole lot of bad can happen on that. In a decent spot, but probably going to take some work to get up to a birdie. Dylan with the backhand. Overturned, but hey, still a fairway hit.
Yeah, it's a good kick, I would say. If you get too far right off the tee, you're looking at sometimes bogey at best.
Mm-hmm. He goes with the forehand, and oh my goodness, that was a serious pump. But
it was pretty close to being way up there.
Right.
They could have just kept turning a little bit more. I will say that was his first backhand tee shot thus far this weekend, though.
Yeah. Dylan, I've played with Dylan quite a bit. He's got a strong backhand and a strong forehand. But I think, especially in the woods, he likes the ability to see the gap and control his angle with his forehand. And you've shown us a couple very nice forehand rips so far. How does that fit into your game plan? Because you've been mostly backhands off the tee and then forehands thereafter.
It kind of just comes in as needed, I would say. I work on more of a standstill forehand than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say it's probably my strongest forehand. And both of those shots that I threw were both kind of, more of a placement shot than a full rip. So it does well for the standstill.
We saw Mike take a kind of a placement play with a thumber. Matt with a full backhand rip throws it to the heavens, and it balloons down to a very playable 220 from the basket. Dylan throwing 3. This is a very critical shot for how his hole and round are going to go, and he executes it perfectly.
I was going to say, also, he was in a lot better spot than I thought he was going to be after that tree kick.
Yeah. Mike from the middle. I'm guessing this is a fairway driver. Flattens it out, beats the cluster, and that'll be near circle's edge with an opportunity for his bird. All right.
Standstill. Let's
Yeah,
go.
buddy.
Drop in birdie.
And that's something that
Actually, no.
players who play at Iron Hill have to learn to do. Like, you're going to end up with some weird footing, rocks right in your stance.
Yeah, I mean, it's called Iron Hill.
Dylan and Mike both have
my
played quite a bit at
goodness.
Nakamixon and some other East Coast courses that require that same thing. They're comfortable with that. Yes. Nicely done by Mike, grabbing the birdie.
Yeah, and he showed you that you can really just play it, positionally, throw, a couple 250-foot shots and get yourself right there to bang a 30-footer.
Yeah, he executed it perfectly. The shots weren't easy, but he did it well. And don't be fooled by the 780. The whole play's so far uphill that it's more like a 900.
Yeah, elevation gain of, what would you say, total maybe like 80 feet? maybe 100.
I don't know if I'd go 100, but yeah, certainly in the high double digits.
And hole 6 here, 625-foot par 4. Players are going to be throwing their first shot to about this region. If they can get up to this this triple tree here, they're in a really good spot. But then they're going to have to navigate those groupings of trees to make it to the green. It's a little bit uphill to start. It kind of flattens out, and then it goes back uphill, I would say.
Mm-hmm. I really like the design of this hole in that it has some definite shape to it. Matt takes a kick to the left. For righty backhand players, your first shot is relatively natural. You throw it flat, you let it drift left. But then the second half of the hole makes a lot more sense to throw a forehand or a lefty backhand.
Yeah, the course demands multiple shots on both nines. It's not like we're throwing a bunch of the same shots over and over.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many different shots you're going to have to throw on this course to, put a good round together.
Yeah. Reach down for a little something extra on that, huh? That's huge. That's really far up there.
That is an ideal tee shot there. And I'm just throwing a flip-up hyzer here with the Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
If it gets to flat and it rides for just even in that half a second, I know I'm going to be in a good spot. And as you can see, I've got the little skip there to get me up a little further.
Yeah, never even tested the back wall, didn't test the inside. Boy, I'd sign up for that 10 out of 10.
If I could take that every time, I would.
Dylan with the backhand again. And, wow, he is testing the inside.
But that was going to be so far up there.
Right?
Wow. Who put that tree there?
Matt and Mike both tucked over here on the left side have some work to do. Matt does a good job getting himself up to a playable upshot. Mike kind of buried in a hole. I think he should have an opportunity from there. Ooh, this is something. There's a cluster of trees near the short pen location that Dylan elected to go over and through rather than this true fairway gap that Mike is taking. He must have just been tucked too far left to make a viable angle out of it.
Great shot. I mean, over that big rock, though, on the left, there is a little gap as well, so...
Mm-hmm. And if you're playing MPO, I guess you kind of trust that, wow, nearly dunking it. You're kind of trusting that you've got the skill to get up and down, even if you don't hit the gap perfectly. Very nice. Okay, Dylan with a chance to save his par. Buddy.
A little short, unfortunately. A little uphill the putt was as well, so could have been just aiming off.
Yeah, maybe. Like I said, it's tough to be patient. Iron Hill makes you be patient. You have to capitalize when you have that opportunity. Well done by you to grab your first birdie of the round. Heading in the right direction.
Yep.
Matt for his par. And Dylan with a bogey. He's got to do some work here.
We're on hole 7. 370 feet. It's a par 3. Once you get past those trees there, it goes significantly downhill. It's hard to tell from the drone flight, but the flight it's taking is the route I would say most people will take. And you see myself here. I'm going to throw a sidearm just to kind of play that route. Hopefully it's flat for most of that gap and then fades out.
Yeah, very nice to get the initial angle, turn it to the left, and that'll put you in circle too long, looks like.
Yep, just it needs to fade earlier, and if it does, you're looking like you're in the circle.
Yeah, I think you made the right mistake, though. Pushing straight usually leads to a pretty good result, but if you leak early, as it appears this is doing, there's kind of an unplayable cluster.
Yeah, you can easily get into some troubles. I think he might have pushed past that short basket, and he might even have a jumper look from circle 2.
I mean, talk about Matt Bell range. Anything inside 100, you're expecting he's gonna run at it, right?
You do.
Mike,
Wow.
touch early, but filters through everything. He'll get inside the circle for his 2 look. And Dylan, as we expected, going with the forehand, but it seemed like he just kind of guided it through the gap and then it died early on him. Go back to that berg and tap down early again. Matt with a big downhill run. He'll have some meat on that pone for the comeback putt. Not surprised to see him take a good run at that, though.
Oh, great putt.
We'll see if that gets him going, though. I like the rewind here. Good height, good commitment,
Great
dead center.
angle. Yeah, he about 38 feet there for his par save. So
Little flare on the disc pickup.
I feel like you make those kind of putts for par, you're like, all right, I can do this.
Yeah, like that's a round saver. Keeps him at just 1 over. Makes you feel like you're heading the right direction. And Mike, dead center, gets his 2.
Yeah, I feel like this is a really good hole to get. All the holes are hard, but the par 3s are holes that you feel like you should get, I would say, out here.
Yeah, I think a lot of your weekend can kind of be written on the par 3s because if you do it right, it's just a drive and a putt. But all of them are dangerous enough that they can rack up bogey strokes in a hurry as well.
Exactly.
I think there was a year when Dave Feldberg won this as an A-tier that he went 11 for 12 on the par 3s. And that was just kind of unfathomable to me, who was going, 2 for 12.
And we're on to hole 8, our second par 5 of the day, 780 feet. It's once again uphill at this start. Once you get to about here, it's going to flatten out a little bit. But this is a much tighter shot, I would say, than the first one. Would you agree?
Oh, unquestionably. It's tighter. It's a little bit shorter. This is probably the best eagle chance on the course. I know that Randon Latta had gotten it this round.
Yeah, it's the same distance supposedly as the one before, but I would say it plays much shorter.
Yeah, somehow it's easier to make these shapes work than it is on hole 5. You're going to go backhand here?
Yep, continuing the flip-up trend.
Yeah.
Basically what this course is.
You split kind of the gauntlet, push up to the left side. That's in a good position. You're going to have to probably do a little trick forehand from there.
Yeah, I think that's the exact line I actually have.
Mm-hmm. Matt playing steep hyzer flip down the left side. He'll punch over to the left. He might have something. Odds are he'll have to just play a layup to a second landing zone.
He got quite a ways, though, playing that left side like he did, and he played it pretty tight.
And this is the shape that can really go places. Dylan crushes a forehand up there. He'll be in a very good spot to throw what I expect is another forehand. You see how rocky this fairway is. Mike committing to that standstill backhand. Good drift.
What a shot.
Yeah, that's great. He'll be no more than 150 feet.
hopefully laying up for birdie from back there, basically.
Yeah, this is an elevated basket, so no sense testing it, right? Dylan with good pop. He's a little bit to the right of where Mike is, but still in a good spot.
Great kick. Yes.
Matt with the forehand flex. Good progress. Oh. Did you have any, dreams or ideas of eagle?
Oh, we were fully going for that one. I probably should have thrown a much more stable disc just to try to get back to the right side of the fairway, but I was trying to hit that skinny gap on the left side.
Right,
going
sure.
for gold.
But this leaves you a little disciplined backhand hyzer, neutral disc. And one good skip should put you inside the circle, huh?
Yep, just like that.
Mike, I think this is going to be a tactic. Very nice to give it the width, run out of speed, and a little bunk on the wood.
Should be an easy tap in birdie for Mike.
All right, so everyone's going to be up here with an opportunity. Matt with the first to go from about circle's edge.
Would you say this is the easiest of the par fives?
Yeah, I think so. There's currently 3 par 5s on this course, and this is the one that is the most forgiving on the second shot. And I think that's most often what makes a par 5 gettable.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it, because it's these two and then 17. Is that correct?
Yes.
Good putt from Dylan there, probably about circle's edge.
All right, nicely done. I sort of like that you were, 20 feet away. That kind of makes the catch zone on these elevated baskets maybe more favorable than Mike here at 10.
Yeah, that's one thing I always find interesting on baskets that are like raised above your head. If you get too close, it's like, all right, I'm going to have to do a different kind of putt now.
Right.
But we're on hole 9, 555 feet, and it's a par 4. Our tunnel here is going to open up for a second, and then we're going to push right down an even smaller tunnel. This one has been eagled in the past by Corey Ellis, Paul Ulibarri, some notable names there, but it is a very tough hole, and birdie is good, and I'm honestly happy with par.
Yeah, I think of this as a don't do anything crazy hole. Like, it's so short that a bogey would feel terrible, but there's a lot of ways to put yourself in trouble. Mike, leaning on his hyzer flips all day, and why not if you're going to throw it like that? He's going to be kind of on the long side, looking like a step-out forehand or something like that to flex down the gap. Is this the same putter you threw on your upshot previously?
Yep. Just really trying to get off the tee and to the middle of the fairway somewhere to that big landing zone.
Yeah, I think because there's a right dog leg here, a lot of players have the tendency to try to make something drift aggressively on the end, but what you and Mike have done to just go straight isn't wrong.
I mean, I think you said it, well in earlier statements that how this course is, sure you can script 18 tee shots, but after that, it's probably not going to be the same as your practice rounds. So it's get off the tee and just see where it lands.
Yeah. So while y'all have gone not too aggressive, Matt's going full send with a distance driver. And even though that was pushing too far, he gets a nice little boost down to the right side of the dog leg.
Yeah, I would love to be in that spot.
Dylan's forehand is so powerful, he has to go with a slightly slower disc. rips it down there. I like this a lot.
Watching him get a max to flip to flat, though, to me is just insane.
Yeah, well, if I throw a max backhand, I don't get it to turn. Carman, again, inventing his own fairway a little bit. This left side has grown up quite a bit in recent years, but he's able to punch through to 80 feet or so.
While we're here, shout out to Mike Carman. He actually gave me a PD at this tournament that made it into my bag, and it's been very awesome. Thank you very much, sir.
He's good people like that. Nicely done. Putter, putter. To temporary park job to 20-footer.
Wow, look at that roll.
Did a lot of things on the ground. Your roll
Ramp.
might have been more time than your air shot.
Ramped off one rock, rolled over another.
That's one of the fun things about, seeing your shots on coverage. You had no idea that it was doing that.
I know. It's like, wait, that's how I got there?
Matt here with one of his little half throws.
I was going to say, that's Matt, and Matt's a little deep now.
That's fine, though.
He's still plenty within his range.
And this would be very, very big for Dylan to get back to under par. Little jump putt. Yeah, that's great. If he gets to under par with a couple of bogeys on the front nine, it'll feel like he's survived, and it's only up from here.
Would you say the front or the back's harder?
I think the front, you can get some good scoring done early, but the back has a gauntlet on the end. 16, 17, 18 are some of the hardest holes in disc golf, and the par threes are no joke either.
Yeah.
So I feel like in order to get a good score, a good competitive round here, you need to be somewhere in the 5 to 6 over the course of the round range. And you want to do the vast majority of that before that gauntlet on the end.
Yeah. I kind of always gave myself room. I was like, all right, you're probably going to take at least one bogey in those 3 holes, so make sure you're above one of wherever you want to be.
Yep. As we close out this front nine, this is for you to go to 3 down. Nicely done. A lot of pars, a couple of birdies stacked in there.
Yeah.
Matt got to 5, Dylan back to 1 down, and you and Mike tied at 3.
And there we have it, our front 9 results. As he stated, there they are. And overall, pretty clean round for our card. Dylan, the only one with a couple bogeys. So I would say everyone is probably overall pretty happy. And here's our current leaderboard we have when we're through 9 holes.
Yeah, this is kind of the real-time standings as this card was going through. Michael Johansson out in front, but a lot of folks still in the mix. Thank you so much to everyone who's supporting, especially Birdie, the title sponsor for the Birdie Open, and the Only Zool Patreon supporters of Gatekeeper Media. Really appreciate y'all following. Please like, subscribe, share with your friends. For Andrew Fish.
And I'm Nick Hanson. We'll see you on the next 9 holes here at Iron Hill.